Do you kind of drive yourself crazy because you know how to be successful, but you often aren't taking the steps to do it? Hi, my name is Samra Selby, and I'm the host of the show Super Awesome You. You can find more of this show's content at Super Awesome You on Instagram. It's a new account. You can also find us on Threads. So be sure to give it a follow to see motivational content throughout the week. I'll be posting there more often as it relates to today's topic, truly, which is the sense of like, I know what I need to do, but for some reason, I'm not doing it. And so that was the question that I posed at the start of the show. And I think it's kind of a universal one. I think we often set a goal for ourselves and we know exactly how to reach that goal. Like, especially if you've done some research, you've done a little bit of work, you kind of look at what other people have done and how they've done it. And you think, it's like, okay, yeah, like there are steps I can take here. There are concrete things I can do. So I'm going to use the example of like building an Instagram audience. One of the first things to do is to literally just start posting. But the problem is you kind of get in your own way. I know that I need to be posting, but then my fear of not creating a really great post keeps me from posting. And then my fear of, oh, well, what if I get like a snide comment on it? That makes me not want to post. And then I think, oh, well, you know what? I'm really busy right now. And then come up with all of these excuses and all these reasons and all these things that are keeping me from literally just posting something and seeing how it goes. Whenever I built up the Super Awesome Mix Instagram account, and frankly, I was much more active on it several months ago than I am right now, because again, it's something that I know I need to do it, and I'm just not finding the time and motivation to do it. But whenever I was posting regularly, I stopped being so afraid of, how is a post going to do? And instead, I would be focusing on the question of like, do I want to share this myself? Like, is this actually something that's meaningful to me? And then I hope that maybe it's meaningful to other people, but I'm not going to grade myself on that. And I found that those posts, the ones where I was most authentic and most real and, most wanting to share something, not for the likes, but because I actually just wanted to share my own experience or my own perspective or opinion, those were the ones that did so well. And they almost always had positive comments on it. And they had a lot of likes and shares and Instagram story posts. And it was so rewarding. And I would tell myself that after every single successful one of like, this is great, like keep going. Stop being so afraid to share. Don't worry about the outcome, because the only outcome that you actually should worry about is the input part, not the output part, but the input part of, I actually do want to share this and this is meaningful to me. And even if it gets 0 likes, like I feel better because I got to write something down and kind of share it with the world and just see if it connects with someone else. And I think that that's often the disconnect between knowing where we want to go and then driving ourselves crazy because we're too afraid to go after it. So fear is like that really interesting thing, right? Because a lot of people say fear is a motivator, but my experience is that fear is not a motivator. Fear actually keeps me from doing what I want to be doing. It locks me in a small little cage and, tells me that I'm not going to be good enough. I'm not going to be smart enough. I'm not going to be clever enough. No one's going to like this. Why are you even doing it? Like, you're going to make a fool of yourself. All things we've talked about before. That is the opposite of motivation for me. Fear is trying to protect us. It's a voice in our head that is worried about kind of being ostracized. It's worried about being kicked out of the group. It's worried about all of these deep, evolutionary fears that we had, where being kicked out of the group literally could mean that you might die. But these days, when you're talking about sharing a post, thankfully, often the worst thing that can happen is someone doesn't like your post or they leave you a rude remark. But, we've got tools for that. Like, you can just delete the comment and block the person and move on with your life. And you can also realize that you're never going to please everyone. And if you try, you'll please no one. These are the things that actually help us overcome our fear. And it's, I'm honestly talking to myself as much as I'm talking to all of you. What really motivates me and what I need to remember, and the way that I overcome this problem, is the realization that my motivation is to connect with all of you. It's to hopefully have you find your joy and find your goals and have them be meaningful to you, and have them, have you achieve your goals. And maybe it's not even about goals. It's about the just being, finding that happiness with yourself is ultimately, I think, the number one goal we should all have. It's waking up in the morning. It's realizing that you are actually very happy with where you are. You might want to pursue something that is important to you, You might want to get a little bit faster if you're a runner. You might want to grow your business if you've got one. You might want to have a stronger relationship with a spouse. All of those things are admirable and you should absolutely go after them, but you should go after them from a place of celebrating where you are today and realizing that where you are today is not a permanent spot. We are capable of so much change as human beings, and we are capable of being larger than our fear. And so when the fear is kind of stepping in your way and being a roadblock, like it does for me, check back in with yourself and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? Where am I at today? And how do I make myself feel good about where I'm at today? And to basically just ask that fear to step aside. Welcome the fear, thank it for trying to keep you safe, but then kindly ask it to step aside and go after what you want. You absolutely deserve everything that you want. And I think the more that you tell yourself that, the more that you wake up in the morning and you tell yourself, I deserve everything that I want, and I'm happy with who I am, and I know that I'm capable of change and know that I'm capable of achieving my goals. This gets back to talking about mantras and affirmations. They really work because you are literally kind of programming your brain to hear these statements over and over, and you believe them. I always tease about DJ Khaled, right? I bring him up almost every episode because he begins all of his songs with "We the best music." And I think that's so powerful. Like, you wake up in the morning and just tell yourself you're the best human. And I think eventually you'll start to make decisions and align yourself with the idea of what that best human is in your life. Because whenever you're faced with a choice, your brain is like, wait, every single morning I wake up and I tell myself I'm the best human. And you're like, well, what would a really good human do here? And you start to make better choices. And that's really ultimately what it's all about. And that's how you kind of fight that fear and connect the dots and reach the space that you want to be in. Talking to myself now, whenever I'm afraid of growing an Instagram audience because I'm afraid of posting something that people don't like, that's like kind of a ridiculous fear, right? Because of course people are not going to all like something that I create. There's no way, I'm not The Rock. I'm sure there's people, I haven't found them yet, but I'm sure there's someone out there who's not a fan of The Rock. For those of us who are not The Rock, there's definitely you're never going to, create something that every single human being is going to enjoy. So instead create the things that matter to you, and hopefully other people will like it too. And I'm willing to bet that they will, because authentic things do grow, and people do want to hear from you, and you matter, and your opinions matter. And it can be a really beautiful thing to kind of share who you are and put yourself out there. I think really nice things happen whenever you believe in yourself enough to do that. This week's song of the week is to hopefully remind you that you have a lot more than you think you do, and that there are a lot of things in life to be grateful for. And it's actually a Big Sean song, and it's called Blessings, and it features Drake. I really love this song. It actually does motivate me because just like musically, it sounds so good. This is like one of those ones where you want to have subwoofers to be able to play it because the beat is just so hard and heavy. But I think it is important sometimes, and that can absolutely help you start your day from a position of strength, is we've talked about it, the practice of gratitude journaling. And even if you're not journaling, just take them a moment and think about all the things that you do have. If you're waking up in the day and you have thought, like, that's actually a huge gift, right? Like, that's already a lot more than a lot of other people have. And I'm sure there's a lot more than that. Like, it's a very powerful thing to realize how many blessings you might have in your life. So that's why I really like this song. I think it's a really motivating song musically because it just, like I said, it just hits so hard. So it always gets me fired up when I play it. So hopefully it does the same for you. Until next Tuesday, don't let fear stand in your way. Just remember to kind of ask it to politely step aside, and you are undoubtedly going to surprise yourself with what you're capable of, and hopefully go on and do great things in the world, and help others and help yourself.